Welcome to this week's edition of the We Be Swangin Show. I'm starting the show a little different. You don't see my face, but you see the nice shirt that I'm wearing. It's called Women Smoke Cigars. I'll show you the back once I get up and rearrange the setting. But some of you have asked, how do you light a cigar? So the beginning of this show, I'm just going to show you how I prepare to light my cigar. So today I'm going to be smoking a Tatiana Sweet Euphoria. I've never had this one before, but this is the brand that I started with. This is actually called a smaller cigar, a cigarello, because it's thinner. As you can see, a normal cigar is a little thicker. If you can see the difference, this is a Java latte, which actually tastes just like a latte you would get out of Starbucks. But I'm not smoking this today. I'm smoking the cigarello. This is a longer one. Normally they come about this length. So this one is a little longer, so it'll take me through the show. So you'll notice that it's wrapped in cellophane. That's because cigars are wrapped in tobacco leaves, and they need to stay fresh and soft. If they're too hard, they'll burn too quick, and I'll go into that more in later videos. But they come wrapped in cellophane. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take it out of the cellophane, and you will notice that there is two ends. One end where you can see the actual tobacco. The other end you cannot. This is the end that you smoke. Now, if you notice, there is a small cap, like a hat, that comes on a cigar. And this is the piece that you want to take off before you smoke your cigar. So how I normally do it so that I don't take too much off, because if you take too much off, you'll start to inhale or suck in the tobacco, and you don't want that. So to get the perfect cut, and this is how I do it, everyone does it differently. To get a perfect cut, I have my straight edge cutter, very sharp. This is the thing that Michael Jordan cut the tip of his finger off because he said he wanted to see how sharp it was. This is what he was using. Like, I wouldn't even try that. So I don't know what he was thinking back in the day. Anyway, so what I do, I lay my cutter down, I open it, I put my cigar top side down, and I simply close it. It makes the perfect cut for me. Not too big, not too wide. And this is the end that I'm going to smoke off of. So then normally I just tap it just in case some little tidbits came off. And then the second thing you want to do is a cold draw. The cold draw is when you put it in your mouth and you suck in. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll try it again. You put it in your mouth and you suck in. As long as you can feel free air coming through, that means you have a perfect cut. If it's a little tight, you can go in and cut off a little bit more. Normally, this is just all you need. The second thing you'll need is I have a single torch lighter, and you want to toast the foot. And what that means is you want to light this so that it will burn evenly. So you take the lighter, and you never put it directly on it. You back it up a little bit, you light, and you just go around in a circle. Because the idea is that you want it to burn very cleanly, very evenly. Now, as you can see, that lit. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to light it. Again, not holding it close. And my cigar is lit. So now we're going to get into the rest of the show. Next week, I'll show you a little bit more of the different cigar sizes and the different things that you can use for it. So let's get into the show. So as you can see, this is the shirt, smoking hot. So that's the shirt that I'm wearing in the video this week. Thanks to Michelle Pleasant. She's in a group that I am in called Women Smoke Cigars on Facebook. If anybody else wants to get me a couple of shirts, they come in multiple different colors. So my birthday's coming up in April. Just hint, hint. So anyway, so I got to relight my cigar because it went out. Remember last week I told you if you don't puff on it every minute or so, it'll go out. So I've relit, and this week we're going to talk about my book. What better way to kick off the show in full-fledged than to talk about my second book, let me just say this again. A lot of you know that I'm an author, published. I have 2 books. I'm working on a couple more, The Stiletto Stalker and The Teacher's Lounge. But let me just say this, and let me just say this again, let me say this again, are my 2 very first books. The first book was about Cheryl and Kevin Bookman. They live such a wonderful life up on the outside, but going home was a true nightmare for her. The second book takes you into how she has finally divorced Kevin and has now found true love in Matthew. But Matthew has some secrets too that she's finding out is not all that she thought it was going to be. So how I got into writing, that was my release. I just love writing. I love creating stories. And in 12th grade, shout out to Potomac High School in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Miss Bobby was her name. She was my English literature teacher. And she gave an assignment of write. But it had to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But it could only be 3 pages. And I thought I was, sometimes you find yourself doing things over more than you should. And I turned in like 20 pages. And she promptly gave me an F. And she was like, I told you 3 pages. I'm like, I couldn't end it on 3. It had to go to 20. And she was like, well, I'm glad you think so. But you still going to take this F. And you're going to redo this assignment and do it in 3 pages. I did it. I wrote something totally different, but this story came about in 1984. Senior year in high school, this story just popped into my head, and a lot of times you will hear people say, oh, my characters come to me, they talk to me, and they do. They literally do. For me, characters come and they sit down and they begin to tell me their story. And so Cheryl came to me and started telling me this story, and I'm like, oh my God, this is just like amazing. And I just freehand wrote it. I didn't type it. I didn't put it on the computer. I wrote it. So I had 45 legal pads of handwritten story, of a handwritten novel. Okay, fast forward that to 1990, and I was like, I want this story to be published for no other reason than everybody was publishing books at that time. And I self-published. Big mistake on my part because I have no clue about self-publishing, and they don't tell you everything you need to know. The pages were off, and it was just, it was a nightmare. So I found Intrigue Publishing. They bought the rights to the book. They published the first book, and then they said, oh, is there a second? I said, oh, yeah, it's already done, but I got to type it. Again, it was I broke it down into 2 pieces. So they said, okay, type it up and submit it. And I did, and they published it. And here's the second book. I don't have a copy of the first one. I'll have it. I'll show it to you next week. But this is on Amazon. I have done book signings. I've traveled all over the country. I've done speaking engagements because the books deal with domestic violence. I did not live in a household that had domestic violence, but it was just something that the story just happened. Like I said, she told me her story. It just happened. So my very first speaking engagement was in the month of October during Domestic Violence Month. And I spoke to a room full of 300 women. But I do take you through the steps of domestic violence. A woman will leave a man, and a man will leave a woman, because a woman can be violent toward her mate as well, 7 times before they actually leave for good. It is a vicious cycle. They keep coming back, and I promise it's not going to be like that anymore. And that's what Cheryl went through. She kept believing that her husband had changed, and he didn't. He just was not able to change his ways. And if you go into the first book, you find out what goes on in his past. Then you see how she has to work through her own self-esteem issues in order to move forward. And then she finally meets a guy who she thinks is going to be the love of her life, and he's so perfect. That's because that's what she was looking for. You know how we do? You know how we do, women. We know what we want. We know how we want to be treated, and we find that in a man. We disregard everything else that's going on, but we find what we need in that man, and that's what the second book takes you through. So, this week the show is going to be a little short, but no worries, because I'm going to show you what I'm reading right now. Oh yeah, and did I finish reading James Patterson yet? You see him on the shelf, right? I have not picked the book up again. Although it did pick up after page 205, it did pick up, but it's like my interest is just not there, so I'm going to try. I'm going to try to finish reading this book this week. Like I said, it picked up, and I hope it continues to the end, but it's on the shelf right now. It's on the shelf, but it's going to come down. I promise it's going to come down. So we're going to take a break. This portion of the show is brought to you by Stop and Go Travel. The world is opening up. Are you ready to go on a vacation? If you are, give Stop and Go Travel a call at 301-316-9320 or visit their website, www.stopandgotravel.com. Fill out the Contact Us form, get on their mailing list, and someone will get back to you as soon as possible to start your dream vacation. We will be right back. So, the book that I will start reading after I finish reading James Patterson and Bill Clinton will be John Gilstrap. I love this guy. I love him. And his character, Jonathan Graves. Oh my God. He could so get it. I'm just saying. Jonathan Graves, I know you are a fictional character, but if you ever become a real man, child, Lord have mercy. Anyway, John and I are good friends, and every time he has a new Jonathan Graves book coming out, I have to get the book. I just have to, because he is such an amazing writer, and this one is called Final Target. I'm behind in the Jonathan Graves series because life happens, and I have, but here's the thing, I have all of the books, like, so I buy them as soon as they come out, but I just haven't read them yet. So I have to catch up. So, and that's what I plan on doing. But again, I'm in the middle of writing 2 novels. So I'm supposed to be writing right now, right? Okay, but I'm not. But anyway, so Jonathan Graves, this novel, I can't wait to get into it because he is such a phenomenal writer that as soon as you start one of his books, you just want to continue to read it. It is, he's like, Jonathan Graves, I would say he's like a mercenary turned private citizen turned, not a vigilante, kind of sort of like a equalizer type person. So he helps those that need it, but there's always some danger, and he's always off in some, foreign country. Sometimes he's local, but most of the time he's in a foreign country. And he's in the state. He, has, a group of friends that goes along for the ride with him. So I'm going to be giving you my critique of John Gilstrap's Final Threat. Hopefully this is turned around so you can see it correctly. And I hope that you all enjoy it. Now, a little bit about the We Be Swangin' Show. It started 7 years ago. I said if I ever had the opportunity that if someone gave me a mic and 2 people watched, I would do a show. And I was contacted by Listen Vision Studios, which is in Washington, D.C., directly across the street from Howard University. The station manager, Jeremy Beaver, contacted me and was like, hey, you have such a dynamic personality, we could live stream you. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I did say a mic and 2 people to watch. Like, be careful what you wish for, be careful what you put out in the universe, because I got it. And I did. I went to DC every Wednesday. My show was live. I had cameramen, soundmen, an audio guy, a visual guy. I had the whole setup. And do you know how much work it is to do a 1-hour show? It, literally, it takes at least 12 hours to do a 1-hour show. because you have to find the guests, you have to have the sponsors, you have to find the topics. I always began this show with the shoe cam because, again, I had a cameraman. I didn't have to do this on my own. I'm doing it on my own. So the shoe cam, I'm trying to work that out. But it's coming, people. It's coming. I know you saw the little short video before. See, that's when I have to do it on my own. I don't have those people that can. Hey, is there an intern out there that wants to do a shoe cam for me? And we can shoot it all in one day. It doesn't matter to me, and just break it up, submit it to me, and I can put it on the show. I'm just saying. But anyway, I started doing the show, and it became more. It was taking a lot, and so I had a young woman named Veronica Mars, who was a student at Howard University, and she was like, "I would love to be your intern." What? Okay, Miss Veronica. And she became my ghost intern. People didn't actually think I had an intern because she was never on the show. She would sit off to the left of me or to the right of me, and she was contacting the authors and getting all the sponsors together, and I loved her to death. She was only about 5'2", and I thought, and had a little small voice. I thought she was like 12 years old. She came to an event, and she was like, "I would love to work with you," and I'm like, "Oh, whose little girl is this?" Because she looked like she was someone's child, like 9-year-old child, but she was 22 when I met her. But anyway, she graduated from Howard. I still follow her on Facebook and Instagram, and so if anybody wants to be an intern, I'm not paying. It's an intern. It's an internship. That's what that means. But I will give you recommendations. I will write letters for you. I need someone to come up with a theme song. I need a theme song, people. Because, everybody wants you copyright and all that. But what I'm looking for some young, up-and-coming. I don't want no curse words because I'm 55 years old. And, yes, I do listen to rap music and hip-hop, but I don't want that on my theme song. So if you know me, I love writing, I love shoes, I love Dallas Cowboys. Yes, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Don't come for me, Commanders. Don't come for me. Don't come for me. I love cigars, and I'm just happy-go-lucky. So if you think you can come up with a theme song, and it doesn't have to have words to it, it could be all music. I love today's music. I love jazz. I love all music. Let's just put it out there. I love all music except for one, hard rock. I can't get into it. The screaming and the hollering and all of that, can't get into that. But everything else, I love, love, love. So if you have a theme song you think will work for me, go ahead and submit it. You can reach out to me on webeswangin@gmail.com. I will try to have that all written out and typed up, and so it'll appear like below. Thank you all for coming to support me, and those of you on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, that's new to me too, because when I had my live show, I didn't do YouTube. It was live, so I just posted it on YouTube. So now it's going live on YouTube. So I thank everyone for coming to subscribe. Subscribe below, because I'll have the link right there. Subscribe to Swangin Webster's YouTube page. Follow me on Facebook. I'm Swangin Webster on Facebook and on Instagram. I am on TikTok, people. I'm on TikTok. Just watch out now. Watch out. I'm on TikTok. But on TikTok, I'm Coco Cigar Cutie. So I want to see you on TikTok. That's where I do all my cigar stuff. So if you want to learn more about cigars, hop on over to TikTok, Coco Cigar Cutie, all one word. And that's where you're going to be seeing me light up what I'm smoking for the day, what I'm having with my coffee, because let me tell you something. Coffee and a cigar, baby, it goes together. Okay? Also, I want to shout out my daughter, because of her, I tried this color, and I'm loving it. She done created a monster. She get it from me. She get it from me. Yeah, I'm claiming it. Hey, Kyrie Sean. So until next week, people, I hope you enjoyed the show. It's going to get better. Just stick with me. One more week. It's going to get better. I'm going to figure this thing out. And I hope to see you next week. Leave me some comments on YouTube. I promise to comment back. Find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, find me on TikTok. But whatever you do, just find me, people. Until next week, have a great one.